review our city council meeting for Thursday. We have a roll call by Ms. Adams, invocation by Mr. Councilman Rodriguez, and pledge of allegiance by Councilwoman Landry. We have some awards and presentations. Financial award going to Mr. Felix and crew, Mr. Fixit, and we have our city manager report, sir.
All right, I'm going to have a number of things Thursday, Mayor, so forgive me for taking a little bit of time. The on-call demolition services contract has finally been awarded to Catclaw Constructors, and demolition on the Supreme Court, formerly King's Court building, will commence on February 18th, so that is next week. So good news that has been done. The Martin Luther King Jr. reconstruction from Avenida Escuela to State Route 90 has been awarded to K&G, and they're going to start that in April to try to coordinate that with the ADOT project that's upcoming. So that'll be going on. There is an issue with a sewer line that I still have to have a meeting on that might require road closure out there. So we'll work on that and try to mitigate that to the extent that we can. Let's see, we have the construction design for our multi-use path connectivity project with Wilson and Company, and that work is in progress. And then the other shared use paths, that work started on February 3rd, so that is going on as well. And then the animal control center is still going as we speak. A few items of interest. First, as you're aware, and it was discussed in your previous meeting, the state legislature is taking up HCR 2021, which is a bill to eliminate municipal food tax, and by placing it on the ballot, the committee is meeting tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes, but it envisions a vote on the food tax elimination in the general election of 2026, so that would be November 2026, and to take effect July 1st, 2027. So assuming that this makes it to the ballot, and assuming that the good folks of Arizona vote to reduce their taxes, then we would have to deal with about a $3.7 million loss in general fund revenue on top of the $500,000 loss we're now experiencing for the rental tax. And roughly, although we're refining those numbers, that's 6.7% of your general fund budget, and as you know, a lot of your items in your budget are pretty much fixed costs. So we're going to do further analysis on that, but right now it appears that our legislative delegation is in favor of this resolution moving forward right now. So that'll be something we'll be dealing with going forward. Also, there's a lot going on with regards to grants out there on the federal side of the House, and right now it is affecting Sierra Vista. We have FAA grants out there, primarily our pavement repair project. And while that grant is not paused, it is delayed due to a lack of staffing, because we're getting a lot of resignations and people leaving the workforce, FAA being one of them. Our environmental grants, Foundation for America's Public Lands, that works on our SPRINCA Adaptive Management Committee projects, as well as our America the Beautiful grant, which pays for our coordinator monitoring and modeling. Those are currently on pause. So that's a pretty big deal, because a lot of the work and coordination is being paid for out of that particular grant. Of course, the e-bike, the chargers out of the Department of Energy across the nation, those have been put on pause. And we're monitoring to see if others will be affected, but we will keep you informed as to how that progresses and what the effects are with Sierra Vista. So That's what I have tonight, and if I have more, I'll let you know. There will be a CCOM meeting Thursday morning, so I'll be able to report on that as well.
Any
Thank you.
questions for city manager? Seeing none? And we'll move on to the public hearing items. First item is 2025 New Series 10 Limit Liability Liquor License. Staff report. Ms. Adams?
Mayor McCaw, members of council, this is an application for a new Series 10 liquor license, which is sale of beer and wine for the new dollar store located at the corner of Highway 90 and Avenida del Sol. The notice of the public hearing was posted on the facility, the required 20-plus days, and no comments from the public have been received, pro or con. The police department has done their background check and have no objections to this application moving forward. And if approved on Thursday night, it will be returned to the state for final action.
Any other questions for comments? All right, thank you, ma'am. Go to item number 4, Resolution 2025-011. Staff report, Ms. Adams.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Mayor McCaw, members of council, this is a acquisition of control and agent application for Paul's Pubsley's Bar. We all know over on Paseo San Luis. Again, the notice of the public hearing was posted on the facility, and we have received no comments, pro or con, as far as the acquisition of control. The police department has also done a background check of the applicant and has no objection to this moving forward, and if approved on Thursday night, it will be returned to the state on Friday for final action.
Questions, comments?
I have a comment. Really
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think as long as Paul's Pub is doing okay in Sierra Vista, I think we're all good. I'm just really excited to see. Congratulations to Dondi. Anybody who's frequented Paul's Pub definitely knows her. So I think this is really great. I'm glad to see that they're still going to be pouring drinks, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. So we'll go to new business. Resolutions 2025-012. Staff report, sir.
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. This is the resolution that was just discussed at your last work session regarding the disposition of the pool at the Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo del Sol. The item basically asks, and in the affirmative, and a yes vote, meaning that you would like us to try to keep the pool and start, spending money to make that happen, and a no vote would mean that the pool would close. So I am not recommending approval for many of the reasons that were cited at the meeting before. The capital costs, which we still don't really know the full extent of with the bathroom costs, and of course the ongoing O&M costs that we would experience on a year-to-year basis. Just for clarification, I was the one that directed Ms. Wilson to talk to Paradigm about the possibility of them running the pool, which she did, and found out that they couldn't do that in a feasible way to help their operation. I was also the one that directed staff to get the study from Aquatic Design Group so that you would have more information in order to make a better decision on that. And I am the one making the recommendation to deny this particular item. So it is not Ms. Wilson. She was carrying out her instructions, as you pointed out at the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments?
I'll make a
Yes, ma'am.
comment
Go
here
ahead.
for this one. I don't know, we really need to have a whole lot more discussion after the special meeting that was held today. It was really great to have Mr. Hewitt here from the Parks and Rec Commission to share the thoughts and the discussion that went on there. So I really appreciate that. That was really great to have. And I also want to, again, thank all of the staff that have worked really hard on getting the information to us and presenting it to us whenever, and any other questions that we maybe had outside of meetings as well. So we have been very well informed during this process.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions? We go to item number 6, resolutions 2025-013. Staff report, Mr. Felix.
Mayor, members of council, as established city policy, as we're closing out the books of the prior fiscal year, we come to you to make recommendations if they have like excess fund balance or if there's money that we can move around. As we discussed in the acquisition of the golf course, ironically, that we were going to forgive the note for Castle and Cook for the sewer interceptor. They were at the rate of $600,000 of outstanding balance after their July payment, and council agreed to forgive that note. As the sewer fund is an enterprise fund, the money does have to be made up because the ratepayers pay those amounts, and so the ratepayers need to be made whole for the forgiveness of that note. For fiscal year 24, we are looking at a estimated $1.3 million general fund surplus, and we're recommending that the general fund for fiscal year 24 transfer the money from the general fund to the sewer fund to cover the payoff of that note in fiscal year 25. That will still leave a $700,000 or so growth in the general fund, taking the reserves to an estimated $10.5 million. So that's a recommendation of taking the excess funds.
Yes, sir.
And Mayor McCaw, members of the council, that last number is very significant. In the 38 years that I've been here, our general fund reserve has never been over $10 million. So this is a first for the city and is a credit to the council and the staff in terms of conservative budgeting and watching our spending, that we've been able to, even in challenging economic times, be able to grow our general fund reserve to that amount. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Moving funds to the sewer fund, is this going to help? I don't want to use the word normalize. I know there was talk about having to look back at rates and fees. Is this going to leave that talk for later rather than sooner, or?
Mayor, Councilmember Benning, unfortunately, no. What this, the cash flow due to capital expenditures that have happened between the sewer plant mishap that needed to get repaired last fiscal year and the one interceptor that had to get done, the sewer fund's cash balance without this transfer went from a negative $1.3 million to a negative $2.3 million. The two sewer line repairs that we have are $1.8 million. The sewer fund revenue last year was $3.6 million. So as you can see, assuming everybody paid cash, half the cash last year had to go out for line repair. The cash is the biggest problem with the fund. The fund has a healthy balance, if you want to call it, because of all the assets in it, but it is not maintaining the operations. We are not getting the cash in to pay for the required maintenance of the lines that we have. And we've not even addressed the situation of the plant and the fixes and repairs that need to be made there. We do have a study that we're going and looking at, and they're coming back with some recommendations for operations, dual, and capacity requirements. And you'll also be having a resolution come forward to suspend impact fees for parks, infrastructure, police, and fire, but it will be increasing the connection fee for the sewer. The net effect to the developer will be negligible, actually slightly less, but the sewer fund does have cash flow problems significantly. We have been increasing over time, but we've not had these major repairs we've had to make last year. And that does not also include the Taco Bell line that the city manager mentioned in his report, which is also going to have to happen. So unfortunately, lines need repair. That is cash, and that's where the sewer fund has its major problems.
Yes, sir.
Did we not do the transfer earlier because we didn't know that the general fund was going to have a additional amount of money coming in?
Mayor, Councilman Jones, we wait until we're pretty well set on it. The auditors were out here last week for their audit work for the fiscal year 24. We do have a new audit firm, and so I wait until I know of any changes or major changes that they may have to make. So that's why we're sitting there now, because they have interpreted a few things differently than our prior auditors, which has had an effect on the revenues of the fund.
Why didn't we transfer more?
Well, that would be the council's choice if they wish to transfer more of the general fund to the sewer fund, but it will not negate the need of a rate increase.
I just wondered where the number how you came up with the number that you did.
The $609,000, that's the outstanding balance of the note that Castle and Cook owes the city, which is the amount forgiven by the council's action to accept the golf course.
Got it.
City Manager.
Yeah, Mayor McCaw, members of the council, that's a good question. Generally, this is the time of year that we find out, from our auditors what our final balances are. So it's not an unusual time frame, even though we have new auditors. But you have a policy to bring these fund balances to you to make these types of decisions. With regards to where that money is going to go for the next fiscal year. So that's another reason why it's on the agenda today.
Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Just the reason we wouldn't transfer more from the general fund to the sewer fund is it's an enterprise fund. So it's supposed to be self-sustaining, like the users that pay in, they're supposed to maintain that fund. So if we subsidize it, that kind of defeats the purpose of the enterprise fund.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just development fees.
Yes.
Is that tied into sewer or just police and fire? I can't remember.
Development fees are like sewer connection fees.
Yeah.
However, they are under a different set of the state law.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So they do not fall under all the development fee rules that we have to follow for all of those funds, fortunately.
And Mayor McCaw, Councilman Benning, we'll be going through this in more detail during the budget process. The development fees, we simply are not experiencing enough development to make it worthwhile to do the general, what I like to say are the general fund development fees, police, fire, parks, that kind of thing. The sewer connection fees are like a development fee. We've had those for a long, long time. Those go towards, upgrades of the plant, expansion of the plant, those kind of things. So,
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions from Dias? Thank you, sir. See you on Thursday. And we go to item number 7, Resolution 2025-014, Staff Report. Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. With this particular resolution, I'm seeking your approval of accepting our next iteration of Operation Stone Garden Grant. This one is in the amount of $100,860 for overtime and mileage reimbursement. So this particular grant has been an ongoing program we've been involved in as far back as 2005. I was actually one of the very first officers to work this program way back when. We work south of town, primarily Hereford, Palominas area, doing proactive, high-visibility law enforcement work. And if we do encounter something that's immigration-related, we do turn it over to the Border Patrol. But this is, in the last few years, this has been a key activity for us in actually kind of safeguarding what's coming into our city with related to border security. One of the things you'll see very soon when you get your environmental scan is I wrote about the fentanyl crisis. Arizona is one of the top states for fentanyl smuggling into the nation through the border. And so it gives us an opportunity to do some interdiction. And we are kind of the gatekeepers. There's some bad stuff coming in the country. So this empowers us to do that. Now, I actually have some data to share with you for all our Stone Garden deployments for 2024. We had 298 deployments. We had 680 traffic stops, resulting in 393 citations or warnings. We had a total of 37 subjects that were encountered that were turned over to the Border Patrol. We had 12 cases of human smuggling. We had 111 criminal prosecutions combined of misdemeanor and felony cases. We had 8 failure to yields. Many of those were pursuits that we were able to stop before they got into the community. We had 33 vehicle seizures. We had 2 firearm seizures, $3,909 in currency seized, and 15 drug seizures, which include fentanyl, fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine. And that was all done on the grant itself. So, again, we want to repeat this activity of proactive law enforcement in and around our community. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Just comment. Just want to thank you, Chief, for this. Thank you for all the PD. Just to clarify, we get questions a lot. We ask people, and people ask a lot, why we have Sierra Vista down in Bisbee? Why do I see Sierra Vista in Palominas? This is exactly why. A lot of this comes from this funding for Stone Garden, and for all the reasons you just mentioned. Because we do get asked that a lot. Hey, I saw, obviously, they do drop people off at jail sometime in Bisbee, but
Yes.
sometimes you see people parked off to the side of the road and say, why are they stop? Why did Sierra Vista PD stop me for speeding in Palominas? That doesn't seem right, So this is a good explanation of how and why that happens, because you're not stopping them for speeding. Yes, that's the reason, but there's more to it.
Absolutely.
It leads to all these other things that you wouldn't have known about unless you stopped that person for speeding.
Absolutely.
Their first infraction. So I appreciate that. I was worried about this because when it came to all the other federal funding and grants that, like Chuck mentioned, that were being stopped on hold or whatever, that this one was still pushed through. But it definitely shows you the impact that it has on something down here at our level when things like that get decided up way above us. Because you imagine if this was gone, it would definitely change our community a lot, the safety of our community. So thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate you sharing the stats too. It really shows all that you guys are doing and how important this is. So I appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? So we'll go for tonight, we have presentation by the Industrial Development Authority. Mr. Dimitri Simonton is the president. And sir,
Mayor, City Council, City staff, it's a pleasure to be before you today. On behalf of the Board of the Industrial Development Authority of the City of Sierra Vista, we are very proud to give you this update on how our relationship has really impacted the community, how we're using our funds, and how we're continuing to invest in Sierra Vista and really make it a fantastic, even better place to live. I'm a Sierra Vista native, 4th generation. I remember when I believe our motto was the best kept secret. And I'm happy to say we are no longer the best kept secret. Everywhere I go throughout the state, everyone talks about the amazing things that we're doing, especially our sports programming, and they just speak very highly of our economic development, and I'm proud to be a part of that as well. So, the Industrial Development Authority of the City of Sierra Vista, we are a political subdivision of the state of Arizona. We are not a city commission. We are our own governing body through state statute, if you guys are familiar with the history of that, and I'm sure you guys have had time to review that. How we generate funds. We don't tax. We generate our funds by the bonds that we issue. So we have to be a self-sustaining organization as well. So we do that by passing revenue bonds, tax-exempt bonds, private activity bonds, general obligation bonds, and a number of different bonds as well. You guys have met our attorney, Mr. Selenia. He is fantastic and has helped navigate those processes and make sure that we're in compliance. And we have really done our best to make sure that the bonds that we do bring before you and that we do pass are things that reflect our morals, our values, and things of that nature as well. One thing that I do want to bring attention to, and Carolyn, Mayor Pro Tem, you remember there was a bond deal that came before us in the past out of Wilcox, something that was potentially going to be controversial for our area. We are very proud to have done the due diligence, met with the right individuals, talked to the right individuals, and made sure that this, if brought to the city council, was something that wasn't going to put us or the city in liability. And those of you who are aware that you saw how that played out, and we're very proud to have done the right things. And that's just an example of the level of care and the intentionality that we take as we bring these deals before you all. So, industrial revenue bonds, right? What are the qualified projects? What can be financed? So, manufacturing, office building, industrial parks, research and development facilities, healthcare institutions, residential dwelling units, all types of commercial enterprise. There are some aspects with airports and sewage and waste and things like that as well. These are some of the type of projects that can be funded, but how we primarily funded education revenue bonds, helping to support, growth in education and other areas in that regard. Right now, as we are building capacity, we are working to figure out how might we continue to pass not only more educational revenue bonds, but other type of bonds as well, so that we can directly impact and benefit our area when it pertains to growth. One thing to clarify, as we're going back to this, is we are not limited to just passing bonds for projects in the city of Sierra Vista. We are able to pass bonds throughout the state and throughout the country as well. So the projects that you guys have seen come before you, some of them are in Arizona, but you've seen a lot of them come from outside the state as well.
So Dimitri, theoretically, you could issue bonds for, say, an airport project for the city or a hangar project.
We are working to figure how we might be of better assistance to do that.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Good job, Chuck.
That same question popped
It was the sewers lines and stuff. I was like, Lord, they're gonna ask me about this when we get
Yeah,
out
I got
there.
a sewer line. I got a sewer line.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Our competition. So primarily the Arizona Industrial Development Authority has eaten up most of the projects that come out. If you guys are familiar with it, it was very interesting how this came together, and it's really hurt a lot of local IDAs, which were primarily established in the late 70s, early 80s, and were primarily, in a sense, the economic development departments for local municipalities, long before they had more robust economic development departments. So the Arizona IDA and the Phoenix IDA are our two biggest competitors in the state, as well as there are 35 other active IDAs throughout the state. And there are a number of ones that aren't active, but those are who we are competing against actively. So
Sorry, what governing body approves their,
the state. Phoenix
Who
or
at the-
the state, I'm sorry.
who at this, yeah, like who does it at the state? Is there a,
Like the Arizona Corporation Commission.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
the
then it goes to the
Corporation
governor's office and all,
Commission?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly.
thank you.
I'm sorry, Councilman Rodriguez, did you have your hand?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so it's important for us to be competitive, and where we have figured out our niche is having a basis points that is very reasonable and very competitive, and then the speed and the pace at which we're able to bring deals to council and get them approved. Of course, we always make sure that everything is done by the book. Like I said, Mr. Selenia is fantastic and a pro at what he does. He was previously with Russo and Russo, who has been around since the I'd say the 70s and 80s as well. So they are pros at what they've done. And he has really, like I said, helped navigate that process for us, make it very clear so that we can be as effective and competitive as need be. If, in my opinion, we are the most active IDA for a rural community. I haven't seen any IDA that has been as active as we are, and that's something that we're very proud of as well. So our IDA, our motto, just playing off of what the city is, extraordinary opportunities, uncommon partnerships. And that's what we've really used to guide our projects and how we want to do business. So we've been around since the late 70s, early 80s. The paperwork's a little iffy when it was actually filed, when discussion started. But we've been around since the 80s, and we've participated in a number of different projects very early on. We were very active in the early 80s and the 90s, and you'll see the impacts of that in some of the apartment complexes like Falcon Court, Garden Plaza, Mountain View Apartments, different things like that. We were instrumental in it's now the Regional Economic Development Group, but before I believe it was the Sierra Vista Economic Development Group, the one that Mignon is leading now. We were instrumental in help getting that established, and there's a lot of shared history there as well. What are our focus areas now? Right now, we're focused on ecosystem development, innovative finance, the industrial Internet of Things, and Industry 4.0, which is the fourth industrial revolution. A lot of you guys know me personally. You know I geek out this stuff. I love it. I really do. And when I think about my community and where I see the future of Sierra Vista and Cochise County going, I really believe the industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0 is the direction that we should really be investing in, due to our proximity or lack of proximity to a highway or water issues and things like that. We have to figure out what are the industries that are being created for the future of our country, and how might we align with that, and how might we bring those industries here so we can keep our youth, we can keep families here and have good high-paying jobs. I love Fort Huachuca. I love everything that it offers, but as an entrepreneur, for me, there's not a lot of private sector kind of things going on. There's always public sector, government, and things like that, and we really want to focus on making sure that there is a robust private sector activity going on here as well. So when you think of the industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0, you might say, what is that, right? So that's artificial intelligence, that is augmented reality, that's virtual reality, that is cybersecurity. There are wearable technologies when it pertains to med tech. When you think of agri-tech, so if you think of your community in Wilcox and things like that, there's a lot of agri-tech things that we can bring to our region and really become a hub and a test bed for a lot of those things. And that's what we are actively working to build capacity to do. And then, of course, innovative finance models like your revolving loan funds and things like that as well to help get capital into the community to fund growth and different things. What are we doing now? So we've brought a number of deals to you in the last 3 to 4 years, and we really appreciate council and staff and everything that you guys do to help us get this done as well. We are closing in at passing close to $1 billion in bonds, collectively with our bonds from the 80s and then what we've been passing as of lately. We have established a $250,000 endowment so that we can make sure we sustain the IDA. As we said, we are a self-sustaining organization, and if I'm being fully transparent, there was a point in time where there were some cash flow issues which really halted our level of involvement within the community. So one of the things that we really wanted to focus on was making sure that the IDA is here, you know, for generations to come and can continue to be impactful and invest in the community. We provided a low-interest loan to Chiricahua Community Health Centers, and you've seen the investment that they've made in this community with the facilities that they've purchased across from Veterans Memorial Park, what they've purchased off of Highway 90, really eating up a lot of that vacant space that I think would be pretty hard to sell or fill otherwise. Of course, they will be paying that back, and we'll be using those funds to invest back into the community. And in the process, we're working with them to build out a model for how we may pass bonds to restructure their entire portfolio. They are a qualified community health center. They are a nonprofit. So they are one of the organizations or the type of organizations that we are able to pass bonds for. There is an emphasis on a national level to triple the amount of community health, qualified community health centers in the country. And if we can be the bond passing facility that builds the model for that, you can imagine what that revenue would look like for our community and how we can continue to invest back in sewer lines and airport projects and be a better partner. We have founded and established the Cochise Economic Garden. This is our free co-working space for business and the community in our new office. We've had companies like Microsoft come in there. At one point in time, Keith Hampton Foundation people, they were meeting there as they were planning all the great things that they were doing, and a number of different organizations have leveraged the Cochise Economic Garden. We are working towards establishing $250,000 worth of community endowments to help sustain our region, some being in research and development, some being in marketing, other impact areas that we feel there needs to be finances backing those areas so we can continue to be competitive and attract projects and people and things into our region and improve the quality of life. We launched the Future Vistas Fellowship. We had 2 fellows last year, which was fantastic. We are exploring some entrepreneurial housing, which is very innovative. We haven't found any type of entrepreneurial housing in the country. And as we're looking to attract tech companies into our region, to headquarters here, potentially providing some housing would help anchor them here while they're figuring things out and they're scaling their companies. We're building capacity for industry scholarships, attracting housing developers. If you're familiar with the project off of Railroad, Crossing Point, we have attracted a developer who's working to complete those 18 lots, whether it be single or multi-family, some duplexes. We have attracted that, and we're looking forward to seeing that project actually be completed. Approved our first junior board member in state's history. That was something that's very important for us as an organization, but to me personally, if we're saying that the youth of our future and we want them to stay, it's important to have their voice there, especially as we're making decisions that can potentially shape our community for the next 15 to 20 years. It's great to have that voice. What's been fantastic as well is him going back and letting his age mates know what's going on in the city, all the investment that's happening, because there's a disconnect there, right? We know everything that we're doing in the investments that we're making. They have no idea. So they're like, oh, there's nothing going on here. Why do we want to stay here? He's our anchor to really counteract that. Working towards some housing grants. So I believe there's $3.5 million in homeowner down payment assistance that's going to be coming up this year. Unfortunately, by state statute, we aren't able to participate in those directly. So if you saw like the Tucson Pima Lighthouse projects and things like that, we're not able to participate. That is something that we did investigate last year, but we are able to partner with the state in order to bring those credits into our community. So we are actively working to build out those relationships as well. We are working with CIC potentially and/or Community Growth Partners of Arizona. Growth Partners Arizona to establish a $100,000 revolving loan fund so that we can infuse capital for small business owners if they need to make capital improvements, when you think of grease traps, when you think of different things that may need to be upgraded as you're going into a space. So we'll be establishing a low interest revolving loan fund for that. We've partnered with the Partnership for Economic Innovation out of Phoenix. If you're familiar with the Greater Phoenix Economic Development Council, GPEC, I believe they are, 4 years the best economic development group in the country. And this is an organization that kind of sprang out of there, and we've partnered with them, and we'll be bringing some things into our community from that. What's really great about that partner, if I'm being straightforward, I had to kind of jump over Tucson so we can get to Phoenix and bring in some of the great things that's going on into Phoenix into our area, right? Phoenix is a hub for tech and innovation, and it just felt like we were missing out on some of that. So it's like, how do we get into Phoenix? How do we let them know about the great things that's going on in Sierra Vista and that there are people here wanting to do these projects? And that's how we did so. So I'm really excited to bring them in. We'll be doing a summit later on this year, and I'm really excited about that. Local First Arizona, we partnered with them for their incubator and their accelerator programs. They have restaurant incubators and accelerators. They have some that are centered on African American business owners, Hispanic business owners, green businesses, which is really fantastic. They have some green loan funds, not quite a green bank, but they have some things around there. And so bringing in those partnerships with Kimber and leveraging that programming, right? So that we don't have to continue to invest and use our funds. To do that, we're leveraging those funds and just being a partner in our region. Arizona Corporation Commission, the program, that's the housing I was talking about. Startup Weekend, Grow with Google, the partnership that Tony and Diane have been really doing a great job with the UACI. That was something that we brought into our community and really worked very well with Diane and Tony with that. And thank you so much for that partnership, Diane. You'll see that investment with Manny's Farmers Market. They are the company that won our sponsored launch, and you see that they opened up their grocer on the West End, so you can see that direct return on investment in our community with some of these partners. Catholic Community Services, Arizona Impact for Good, Arizona Forward. Councilman Jones, that's where you'll see a lot of the more environmental stewardship and the planning in regards to that. As we all are very aware, water is the number one issue that kind of hinders our growth, and having a partnership with Arizona Forward is how we are looking into how might we be better stewards of water, how might we include policies and procedures in our growth plans so that we can sustain growth in our area. Of course, Growth Partners Arizona, Community Investment Corporation, and then the Arizona Technology Council. Some direct investment back into our community. So, of course, we funded, at the time, the Sierra Vista Chamber of Commerce, we funded the establishment of their foundation, and you've seen the great work that Melanie has been able to do with that foundation. I'm sure you guys have attended their annual gala, and that's been some really fantastic work, and you've seen the evolution as they've become the Sky Island Regional Partnership and have really expanded their reach and their impact as well. We've sponsored the UACI with Manning's Farmers Market. We donated $15,000 worth of school supplies this last school year to teachers, which we're very proud of. We contributed $10,000 towards Aloe Fiber Project. We donated $6,000 towards the Boys and Girls Club. Donated $5,000 to Salvation Army. Donated $2,000 towards Project Graduation for Boyne and Pep Tech. We did reach out to the other high schools. We wanted to make a donation. Not all of them have Project Graduation, so where we could invest, we did. And then a number of different things, especially over this holiday season, supporting those food pantries. It was really odd. A lot of the food pantries this last year were really kind of wiped out, so we really wanted to step in, especially around the holiday time, and make some impact investment, and we did. And we sponsored the inaugural moonshot competition. This year we sponsored the youth moonshot. Big idea. I'm sorry, Diane, they just remarketed all that, so the names and stuff. But we did sponsor that this year. The Better Bucks program, a housing forum a couple of years ago, and then just other funds that we've towards like Girls Camp, the NAACP, Operation 123 for their winter drive to support the homeless. What we have approved so far in other funding is $45,000 towards the Cali Vista, which will be, in a sense, curb appeal beautification on Fry Boulevard. And in the West End. So that's our welcome mat to the community. We want to make sure that we have a beautiful, vibrant community that we can be proud of, and we want to help make that investment towards that. We've approved $25,000 towards small business grants. We want to make sure that some funds go directly. So that's not a loan. That'll be funds going directly to business owners that they can use to improve, invest, whether it's marketing, wherever, how you buy supplies so that they can expand. We've approved that as well. $10,000 towards the BIPOC fund with Community Investment Corporation. That's going to help minorities be able to get I believe it's up to $10,000 at 0% interest, so that they can help grow and scale their business. This is with a partnership with the Community Investment Corporation out of Tucson. And then potentially, I've been speaking with Tony on how we might support our investment in becoming, a space hub and really leveraging the space economy. You guys are already making a substantial investment in getting the port and all that. We would love to kind of come and help and do a national marketing campaign, bringing in companies, bringing awareness that, hey, we want to be the hub for this type of industry here, not only on the public side, right, from a government standpoint, but what might that look on the private sector and having companies actually headquarters here as they're testing out some of their things, similar to the project or the company that chose to headquarters in Sierra Vista. We've made some investment in our own capacity. So, of course, filling our governing board of directors, building out and training our board. We did some heavy training very early on, and that's become something that we continue to do every year. We've hired a full-time operations and innovation manager, a part-time office manager, and grant writer, so we can look at other funds that we can bring in as well. Invested in project management software and some sales software as well, so we can scale how we can double and triple the amount of bonds that we are passing. And then, of course, just paying off past debt, restructuring our portfolio, building our digital footprint, and digitizing documents that we received, hard copies since the 1980s. It probably takes over half of this room. You could imagine the undertaking that has been. And then, of course, just different regional and state marketing campaigns that we've been looking into launching, and then partnering in and launching economic gardens throughout Cochise County, right? So Huachuca City, Benson, Wilcox, and Naco will be partnering with other municipalities. We spoke with the city manager in Wilcox, spoke with, she evades me right now, the city manager in Huachuca City, and then we have a partner in Naco as well. That would be a mini kind of site like the building that you guys came over for our grand opening, so that we can show as a region we're looking to make that investment and not just Sierra Vista as well. So some of the support organizations that we have in doing this work. So you guys are familiar with Sierra Housing Resource Partners. That is the support organization that we have that has led on our housing and our apartment complexes that we have in this area. We are working towards becoming a community housing development organization. That's a federal designation that would really help bring in some funds, and it's a good thing to kind of have on your resume as well. Cultivate Cochise, this is where our programmatic work, the incubators, the accelerators, and the things like that are being housed. And we're working at becoming a CDFI long-term, which is going to be another financing institution to bring in funds and support businesses that way. And then Southeast Arizona Community Development and Investment Corporation, with the goal of becoming a community development entity to help bring in new market tax credits and really help incentivize more of the commercial growth and redevelopment within and throughout our communities. Some of the things that we are currently working on as well as far as projects, you'll see Cali Vista, you'll see the CHIP, which is the Cochise Hub for Innovative Partnerships, Future Vistas, Youth Advisory Councils, once again wanting to make sure that our youth are invested and involved. Jackie Clay and I, when we have our conversations, we'll say, the number one thing that we export in Cochise County is our youth, is our talent. And we want to, counteract that. We want that talent and those ideas to either stay here or to come back here at least. If you leave and you go out, that's fantastic, but make sure you come back home as well. Astra, which will be the spaceport kind of things. ID8, which Diana, we talked about, the Greater Sierra Hummingbird Gala, and then, of course, the Cochise Economic Gardens. at this point in time. Mayor, council, city staff, if you have any questions I may answer.
Questions from the council? Yes, sir.
Where's that mural? The community mural, the 15K towards the mural.
Oh, you saw that? No, just playing. So we are working on a couple of different locations in which we can do that. What's interesting, Councilman, is we want to make sure that it's going to go in an area that somebody's not going to buy that later and paint over it. So we're looking initially at the west end. Councilwoman Gwen Calhoun has been wanting a Welcome to Sierra Vista mural and something to that effect. So we have a artist who is doing a couple of conceptual designs, and then once we have those designs approved by the board, then we'll finalize our location. But we want to make sure somewhere that's not going to get painted over.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm out of breath just listening to you. You're just like, "Wow, that's a lot." How long have you been on the IDA? I don't remember when we have.
So this is my fifth or my sixth year.
Okay, right. So when I was attending a bunch of those meetings, none of this. I don't remember. Well, some of it was happening, like the apartments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's incredible how far you guys have. This is, you wouldn't even know it's the same organization. Like it's just, I am shocked at how much you've accomplished and you're working on, and you present it like you're being paid full time, and I know you're just volunteering, and this
Right.
is just what you're passionate about, and we're benefiting. So thank you for all your hard work and the board's hard work.
Yes, ma'am.
I really appreciate you coming and presenting this. I think it's really important for us to know more about what it is you guys are and what you do and what you're continuing to do. So I think this is a great information. So thanks so much for coming and presenting to us.
I want to reiterate all that, what the IDA is doing, how far they've come. Tremendous, and for you, young man, the right person, the right time, the right everything. So I thank you personally for your service to the city of Sierra Vista, and from things we've done together way in the past to what you're doing with the IDA. Your passion is contagious, so keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
One last thing.
Yes, sir.
We talked about this before, but the Future Vistas Youth Advisory Council.
Yes.
Talk about the next step. So when they age out of our youth council, the next step forward. So I would love for you to come to one of our meetings and talk about, or a representative, and say, hey, when you guys age out of this program, here's what we have available to keep you guys. If you want to stay local, if you're going to college, doing things, good, do it. But if you're staying or you look at coming back, here's what you have available. Now that the youth council, once they're seniors, they age out of it. But I would love for you to come present at one of our meetings.
Yes, absolutely. If I can elaborate a little bit to Mr. Mayor, council, and the staff. I remember prior to Tony, the city had invested in some young professional groups. I think it was See Now is what it was called. I was very active in the Tucson Young Professionals group for a number of years, and working and helping with Zach at the time to make it the largest young professional group in the state, even eclipsing the ones that are in the greater Phoenix Valley area. So learned a lot, and one of the things is just making sure that there is a pipeline. So as you in a sense graduate or age out of these youth commissions and councils, there's a place for you to continue developing as a young leader and helping you find a place within our community, right? Sometimes it can be hard navigating. You have so many things that you're passionate about, but there's also a way of getting things done and being impactful, and we want to make sure that we can help develop that talent and retain these people here. Thank you. But I'll definitely come in and speak anytime.
Okay, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your passion. I talk to Dimitri at least once every 2 weeks, and he just calls me like at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I got this idea. You're like, dude.
You too.
Yeah. But he's so passionate about just business development. And just like what you said, this is a niche. Didn't know you was this was volunteer. Wow.
Yeah, man. So if y'all want to, no, just playing. But one thing that I do want to clarify is these are not public funds. These are funds that are generated from the bond deals so it's not taxpayer money that's going towards these projects. These are public funds, and so it's a fantastic opportunity to invest into our community. And these, once again, are funds that are coming outside. A lot of times, Love Legacy and everything that they do, but everybody has to compete for that pool of funds, right? And there's not a lot of other funding sources within our community. So to be able to have something that brings in outside revenue into our community to invest, it's a blessing.
Remember when he was doing dots?
Oh, yeah.
Dippin' Dots.
Dippin'
Yeah.
Dots.
Dipping dots.
Oh, yeah.
Come a
That's
long
that was
way,
your
young
first
man.
entrepreneurial
Yeah.
experience.
First official one.
Official.
Yeah, first official. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
You still have that little trailer?
Nah, I sold that a long
sold
time ago. Yeah, yeah.
Come a long
Well, you know, because
way,
that's what would happen. I'd be going to do other business things, and they're like, "Oh, you're the Dippin' Dots guy," and I was like,
And I had to bring it back up, huh?
"Yes, sir."
Love you, brother. You're doing
great
such
job.
good
Not a
stuff.
bad reputation.
Questions that I may answer?
Comments? Thank you, sir.
you.
Appreciate it. Now we go to report on recent meetings and future meetings. Yes, ma'am.
The Transportation Commission meeting met on the 5th of this month. They meet the first Wednesday of every month, so next month, the first Wednesday, 3:30 up here in the conference room upstairs. There's spots available for new commission members, so if anybody's interested in transportation issues, not just airport stuff, transportation stuff, so like roads and transit stuff. So if you know anybody that might be interested in that, definitely encourage them to come and sit in at a meeting or join the commission.
Any other?
Mark's just
I was trying to find the date. I was trying to find a date, but February 18th, I think, is when it is for upcoming meeting.
We have Arts, Humanities, and Cultural Diversity tomorrow at 4:30 at the Oscar Yarn Community Center.
We have Parks and Rec tonight, 5:30. I think Mr. Councilmember Jones, we got to talk afterwards. He said he could do it. He's going to fill in for me because I can't make it, but more than welcome to show up if y'all want.
And the governor's going to be at the.
And the governor.
Yep, that's where we visit.
Yes, we're on our way to. Yes, sir.
Oh, just February 19th is our next youth council meeting for,
It's on Sunday.
it's our first, it's a Wednesday,
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
third Wednesday of the month for now, which we'll be merging with our youth commission, which meets on Sunday. But this next session 2 will be the first, that'll be the first meeting of session 2. So we finished session 1, you heard them come speak after session 1, and now they're moving forward to session 2 with just as much energy. So that'll be the first meeting that they get together is 19th. So I'm looking forward to everybody that wants to participate in that. Again, 8th grade to seniors is what we're looking for.
And others. And we go to future discussion items and council requests. Ma'am?
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. You have the 18-month strategic plan update coming up at your next work session in February. And then one important change to your budget calendar. Originally, you had your mid-year budget review scheduled for presentation on March 11th, but we realized that not only is that spring break week, we'll also have 3 council members out at a conference and 1 on vacation. So we're going to shift that to March 25th for presentation.
The 11th.
The 11th of March.
Okay.
It was originally scheduled on
It's
your
going to-
budget calendar.
Yes, sir.
Do we ever, when we had met, the services sign was not on, hasn't been lit. Did we figure out what was going on with that?
I asked Ms. Flassar to check into that with Streets, so I don't know if she has any information. Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you. I just keep getting, people will notice that a lot. So I've gotten some more emails about it, like, hey, why is our sign off? You know, so thanks for looking into that. Appreciate it.
Well, with that, we are dismissed. See you on Thursday.